Oh, fuck. Is that his dad? Oh, shit. Who is that? Oh, no. Oh? Oh, shit. That is the art of apologies. You start off with accountability, accepting full responsibility, and then you share your apologies. Beautiful demonstration. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated licensed psychotherapist and your favorite yapper. Welcome back to my detailed psychological analysis of 86 episode 4. With last week's episode, I feel like the series has now officially begun with intense psychological and emotional stories. And I'm really excited for today's episode. I can't wait to see how Lena approaches her moral injury and the shock of the gunslinger's death and the limitations of her empathy without proximity that I talked about. Sit back and I hope you enjoy today's video. Wow, we're going straight into it, huh? To that blonde guy's anger and just berating Lena because of everything happened and the death of that decoy gunslinger. Yeah. 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 He is one of those three guys that went to take a peep at the river, Heaven on River. And you see, this is a powerful portrayal of emotional spillage, emotional overload. This is the reason why Spearhead, the Quadrants, and everyone, including Shin, they always have flat tone outside of their playtime with each other because their social buffering, their humanization, their effort to survive in this dehumanized paradigm is through banter, acting as if everything is ordinary, acting as if everything's normal. One, because their grief has been normalized and they have to keep going by suppressing and compartmentalizing their grief. But like I said, compartmentalization, emotional compartmentalization works until it does not. And this is the true magnitude. This is the true emotional state of every single 86. Underneath all that calmness, indifference, nonchalance is deep suffering because they do not exist. Yet their comrades are as real as they are because they're human beings. Yet one of them just died because of Lena's strategic decision. Of course, I don't blame Lena one bit, but the point is this blonde guy's anger towards Lena is not necessarily towards Lena per se, but towards the entire republic, entire system that is collectively dehumanizing every single one of them. How can they respect and value and honor the dignity of their fallen comrades if they do not exist? Because they're nothing but pigs. Oof, rough start. Oh, it's stale. Think about, oh man, goosebumps. Think about another gross power differentials and the gap between the oppressed and the oppressor, or the oppressive and the oppressed. Of course, Lena is not an oppressor, but she represents, as an Alba officer to the 86, she does represent the oppressor, the Republic. Only one side can cut off the synchronization. Only one side could end the communication with Para-Raid. Who is that? Not the 86 soldiers, but the officer Lena. Even if they want to cut off synchronization and stop talking, they have to ask the handler, aka Lena, to cut off the communication. They have no freedom. 86 have no freedom. They don't even have the freedom to cut off the comm, drop off the comm. They have to ask. And of course, we hear Lena sobbing absolutely with her moral injury and her absolute shock of this visceral death of Gunslinger, who voluntarily went as a decoy because of Lena's map and her strategy.
死にたくない。
Oh, I don't want to die. Another stark contrast and powerful emotional portrayal. Theo, his codename is Laughing Fox. Just like at the river when they're peeping at those girls, laughing, humor, banter. Amazing. Yet, he's not laughing. It's just grief, emotional intensity. Such a irony, such a stark contrast. Laughing Fox, who is losing his composure, who's overwhelmed, overtaken by grief and the loss and trauma. Oh, fuck. Gunslinger was Kai. Ah, F me, dude. Damn. Kai is the one that was really the most friendly with Lena in last episode outside of Shin. She even said that oh man, I can't even talk. She even disclosed her nuanced perspective. She even validated and acknowledged that not all white pigs are the same. Not all Alba officers are horrible people. Just like not all 86 are also good. Kai is the one that recognized the nuances of the humanity. Kaya is the one that started to accept Lena. She said that I'm starting to get interested in you, Handler 1. Such a nice, wonderful, receptive person Kaya died. No wonder Thea lost his composure. No wonder Thea lost it. It's Kaya. Fuck, dude. Damn. So it's interesting what Theo just said. I did the same thing as what white pigs did and tainted your death, Kaya. I wonder what he meant. I wonder what he means. Does he mean that's what white pigs do? Who lose their composure, who whiplash other people based on their emotions, drunkenness, who are just very unprofessional, unethical. They lash out when they want. Because would you bet an eye? Would you blink an eye when you lash out at a livestock like a pig? No, normal humans wouldn't. Maybe that's what Theo meant. I lashed out. I lost my emotional composure. I was unprofessional and disrespectful, just like white pigs. Elena? Look at Shin overlooking at the hill. I think he is memorializing all of the fallen soldiers, remembering their humanity, and maybe even looking at the direction of the Republic, hoping to get home at the end of 127 days or whatever. Using what I've learned so far, I'm also applying new analysis to the opening sequence. Look at Lena coming in to the shelter safety, illusion of safety, illusion of control in her control room with screens. Again, this is even an opening sequence. It's a depiction of her empathy without proximity. Far removed empathy could come off as performative compassion, as I talked about last episode. And this is the reason why Lena is experiencing moral injury and absolute emotional shock. Because she realized, oh shit, where I am in this control room, far removed from the front line, far removed from the battlefield. It was nothing but an illusion of control. I am not in control. 86, Kaya, gunslinger, died under my watch. Man. Oh, name tags. Obviously, that's very significant because Shin, the Reaper, is in charge of collecting the name tags, collecting physical memorabilia, collecting the physical proof of fallen comrades remaining to show that they existed, they matter, they fought alongside us. They are human beings, not livestock. Oh, ruins, sacrifices, of course, withering flower. You see, the setup and the writing and the tempo of the series and each episode is absolutely incredible. Every episode so far, besides the opening sequence, starts with the mundane nature of the 86 soldiers, specifically Spearhead Quadrants. Every episode so far, they've started just playing basketball, doing shooting practices, eating breakfast, chasing each other, peeping at the river of heaven on river of girls changing or just play fighting. Every episode starts with such a mundane, such an ordinary, such a peaceful, calm setting. But of course, we know all of this is a facade. This is just depiction of their opening sequence is nothing but a portrayal of 86's, especially Spearhead's best effort to maintain their humanity. This is their surviving effort, coping efforts within this very bleak reality of death could knock on their doors at any time. Death, their mortality, could fall upon them or their comrades at any time. Such a powerful yet subtle portrayal and setup of every episode. It's unbelievable. There's Deo. I think Theo is apologizing to Kaya again, or maybe apologizing to Lena for losing it and lashing out at her, because he knows it's not necessarily Lena's fault, right? Yeah, I'm curious to see who and what he was apologizing for. I'm sure it's not about the game. Oh, that was a very, very symbolic shot also. You see that the camera started to move upwards and we only saw half of Theo's face, and we saw that goddess, or that a goddess of war, seems like, with a shield and a spear. And of course that spear could be the spearhead, which is who they are. But that goddess graffiti was looking down upon him, hovering above him very ominously. What does that say? 86 Spearhead, the quadrant is nothing but a puppet of the Republic. At the end of the day, the true lurking danger, the true lurking threats, the biggest opposition is not the Legion's machines, not the Legion's androids, but the Republic itself, the governing body of who they are. Yet ironically, Legion androids are actually machines, yet the Republic is comprised of humans, but Alba officers who dehumanize them, who do not recognize the humanity of the 86. That's why that goddess portrait or graffiti, I think, was looking above and looking down at Theo. Wow. So many symbolism. One less soldier.
それ顔キツネだし、なんか怖いぜ。しかも笑ってないぞ。お前ラフィングフォックスなのにさ。うるさいな。気にしてるの？あの女に言っちゃったこと。気にしてない。
Oh, maybe I was right. Maybe Theo was apologizing at Lena because he knows she means well and she comes from a good place. And I talked about it last episode. Good intentions alone will not address or fix social inequalities, oppressions, things like that. But sometimes that's the best we can do. Sometimes, like in Lena's case, that's all she can do. That's the only way she knows how to humanize and show her respect for the dignity and integrity and the humanity of 86 by being nice. Despite her limitations, sometimes that's all we can do within our limiting circumstances. But look at the abrupt change and stark contrast with Theo's anger, outlash, until now. Everything's calm. Everyone's play fighting. Now they're all gathered inside whatever shack they're in, right? Because grief has been fundamentally normalized to every single one of them. And they have to keep living. They have to move on. Because if they attach their emotions to their grief and themselves, aka emotional reconciliation, it will trap them. They will feel stuck. It will boggle them down to a point. It's like you're trying to float to the surface of ocean, but you're drowning with a massive, massive shackle of weights pulling you down. You're going to drown and you will die. And how do they make sure they don't drown in their sorrow, grief, and emotions? They sever their ties with the shackles of weights, aka acknowledging, accepting, and internalizing their emotions. They don't have the privilege to acknowledge their emotions, to process their grief. So they stay detached. How do they stay detached? By acting and pretending nothing is wrong. Just another day. It's a necessity out of survival. A lot of soldiers, a lot of combat veterans go through this. They're teasing at Theo. One is they're teasing because, again, teasing bends her. That's a facade. That's an aspect of an ordinary experience, a day-to-day, a normal life. But second, through teasing, they're trying to help Theo release his guilt, release his self-blame. I think that's the intention behind their teasing. It's very thoughtful, very deep. See? Yeah, they're trying.
あといつもボタン1個だけ止めてるのも
いいでしょ別に。
そういうとこせおらしいけど
Aww.
知らない。
Also, the silver hair girl, I talked about what is her origin with the Republic because she also does have silver hair. But I know 9 years ago, a bunch of different nationalities and ethnicities and skin colors within the Republic, many of them got banished and became the 86. So I'm curious to learn silver hair girl's origin story. Anyway, also, it seems like the silver hair girl, she's more mature. She's more maternal. She seems a little bit older too. And that makes sense why she's the one kind of initiated that, oh, I feel bad for one, as like a entry point to tease Theo and also help validate and externalize Theo's guilt. That, hey, it's okay, Theo. You're not the only one that's feeling bad. I feel bad too. We all feel bad. So let's bend her, let's play fight, and let's move on.
昨日はらしくなかったな。
ああいう言い方は良くなかったけど思い出しちゃったのよね。狐の隊長さんを。
Fox Commander? Who that? Is that his dad?
ああもうみんなしてさ。
それはだって羨ましいもの。
Oh, maybe not.
そうやって大切に覚えていられる人でしょ。私にはそうじゃない人ばっかりだったから。
You see that? Why did camera zoom in and show the silver hair girl sewing the button? The anime studio didn't have to show that sewing. Why? Because yet, that's another portrayal of another seemingly ordinary, seemingly mundane occurrence. People sew when their clothes get broken, the button falls off. Yeah, but think about the setting. They're in an active war zone and they could die at any moment. Yet here she is, very casual, nonchalant, fixing and sewing her button. Man. Am I saying too much throughout this series?
そうできるなら。
That's like that conversation happens between the head repair person and Shin every episode, every battle. No more. This is the last time. Take it easy. Do not push the machines too much. She's like, oh, maybe. And he pushes it too much every time. But of course, every instance is life and death. You're not thinking about the maintenance of the machine. You guys are all such kids. That absolutely breaks my heart. They're kids who should be play fighting and enjoying the process of youth and growing up. Yet only thing they're getting used to, only thing they're growing up to is grief, death, trauma.
変わらず血管切れそうだよね。たまには怒らせないようにしたいところだが。
The robot dog. Oh. Oh, that's Kaya's memory tag. That's Kaya's representation of her death, grief. And again, Shin is responsible for collecting all those tags into his tag box, right?
隊長だったらなんて言ったかな。あのハンドラーに。
Who's the Fox Commander?
どうでもいいか。もうパラレイドつなげてこないだろうし。白豚なんかさ。
Ah, that's very good. That's expectations versus reality. I know for a fact Lena is gonna log on again tonight and talk to them and resume her routine. She will not be deterred by her moral injury, emotional shock of losing Kaya. If anything, I would argue and I predict she's gonna update, refine her empathy, and she's gonna increase her effort twofold to really close that gap between her removed safety and the lack of safety for 86. She's gonna do everything she can. And Theo said it again, out of his bitterness, I think some guilt because he lashed out. And again, his struggle and grieving effort, grieving process that she thinks she's a saint. That is Theo's assumption. I know for a fact that that Lena does not think she's a saint. She's just a young adult officer as in Handler 1, trying her best to respect and acknowledge the dignity and the humanity of 86. That's all she's doing.
の隊長ならそうは言わない。
Oof. Get called out. Or maybe he would. They're humans, Theo. You're a kid. Lash out. It's fine. Shit happens. Oh, Kaya. Also, I think when Shin is alone in his room under the moonlight is also very symbolic. I think anytime Shin is in his room, again, by himself under the moonlight, symbolizes his grieving process. I think the only time, only place that Shin truly reveals his grief and his emotions of sadness and sorrow is when he's by himself under the moonlight. Because he does not want to share and reveal his struggle, his emotions to other people, to other squadron members. Because he knows deep inside, his squadron members rely and depend on Shin as the emotional regulator, as the emotional and trauma anchor. Because all that play fight, all of the squadron hanging out, it also reveals a deeper aspect, trauma bonding. Definition right here. Trauma bonding, I'm sure maybe you've heard of the saying trauma sisterhood, trauma brotherhood. Trauma bonding is an effort, it's a coping mechanism for trauma survivors to bond with each other, to create that social engagements, that sociality, that sense of community. Because only each other could understand each other's loss and trauma. Of course, combat veterans have PTSD. Sexual survivors also have PTSD. And the impacts of their PTSD and trauma is similar, but the experience of their trauma and the experience of their PTSD is very different. That's why people with similar and relatable trauma gravitate towards each other. We call that trauma bonding. So that's one. But two, Shin does not reveal his emotions of trauma to other people because he is the leader. He's a de facto trauma emotional anchor. He doesn't want to weigh down other people more because his squadron of spearhead can only stay strong and keep going out of necessity if he, the leader, stays strong, which is another invisible suffering and another layer of invisible struggle, silent suffering, silent struggle that Shin has to endure and upholds by himself. That is a responsibility of a leader, especially in a battle situation. Shin, I feel for you, man. Man. The tag box. Oh.
何かご用でしょうか。ハンドラー1。
I knew it. Lena hopped on the comm, a para raid, as if nothing, I can't even talk. Lena hopped on para raid, the comm, as if it's just another day. Because she knows she has a job to do and she's going to increase her effort. And of course, episode 4 is called Real Name. One more thing I'll say also just hit me with the tag box. I think tag box represents another deep emotional symbolism. I think, think about what does tag box do? On the surface, it's collecting memorabilia. It's collecting the proof of fallen soldiers to prove that they existed. Although on the surface, they do not exist according to the 86. That's a surface meaning. I think a deeper meaning is, I think it's silent, invisible resistance by Shin. I think for Shin to collect the name tags into the tag box, I think the tag box in itself represents Shin and maybe even Spearhead's collective resistance to the Republic. Oh, you think we do not exist? We do not exist on paper? We're just unmanned drones with 0 casualties and 0 fatalities? Cool. We're going to physically collect the physical proof of our fallen comrades, Kai or Kujo or otherwise, into this tag box. This is a proof that we existed. We matter. We were once here. And we own the ownership of fighting for Republic who do not appreciate us. But nonetheless, we are at the front line fighting against the enemy of the legions. I think the tag box represents Shin and Spearhead's invisible yet powerful resistance against the Republic.
レーナも結局共和国人ってことよ。許されないこと
Yeah,
だ。
it's not okay.
少なくとも私は私を許せない。
じゃあどうしたら許せるわけ ?86 に行って彼らと一緒に戦うできっこないでしょとは自分を甘やかすことよプリン作りすぎちゃったの
So the scientist is acting as a good friend and she's like, don't wallow, don't get too depressed, have some pudding, spoil yourself. Spoiling yourself is obviously self-care. The scientist friend is asking and encouraging Lena to do some self-care, to detach from the situations and just take it easy, right? But of course, Lena is like, no, I'm gonna double down my effort.
アネット
Yeah.
悪いけど今はそんな気分じゃ。無理しちゃって。島にこっそりプリンが食べられる素晴らしい世界なのよ。
This place, this is a wonderful world. It freaking hurts me. The freaking irony, almost cussed. The freaking irony. This is a wonderful world. My ass.
素晴らしくないわ。もう知る必要ないじゃない。どうせこの先会うこともないんだから。アンディエッタ・ペンロ。
The significance of names is a first identifiable marker. Name is the first identity marker to our humanity. No name, no identity. Nameless, you do not exist. Name is the first identity marker to every single one of us. That is the magnitude of name. Names matter because we exist.
何よ、それがあなたの名前。あなたの名前を。
Yep, identity marker.
その人そのものよ。
Yes.
それを私は踏みにじってしまった。彼らを人間として扱っていなかったの。だわ、本当にそう思っていたら、それこそ真っ先に名前を聞いたはずよ。
Oof.
今回のことはいい機会よ。これ以上
I disagree with Annette's, the scientist friend's analysis. If you really cared, then you would have asked for the names right away. That's not true because the show hasn't revealed yet, but in the military, because I'm a veteran, there's always military protocols. And I wonder if the military protocol for handlers and officers is to address 86 by their names, by their code names. I feel like it is a protocol. So it's not necessarily reflective of Lena's inconsiderations or lack of care. Because one thing for sure, without a shadow of doubt, is Lena cares deeply. That's why she's struggling. That's why she's in agony. Annette's analysis is very black and white. It's very without context.
しない方がいいわ。どうしてそう彼らを拒絶してばっかり。何もできないからよ。
Oof.
ここにはプリンがあって。
Oof. Oof.
愛する。でもレーナ、戦争はもう始まってしまったのよ。あの頃には戻れない。
Wow, this is a very important heart to heart. We see that Annette's facial expression darkens because this is Annette's cognitive dissonance showing up. As soon as she said, because there's nothing we can do, we saw a quick glimpse of the camera. And again, Annette's looked really somber, really sharp, really dark. There's nothing we can do. I want to help, but there's nothing I can do. Because this is the system. What am I going to do? Be an anarchist? Go for anarchy and revolt and galvanize against the republic, the country, the system? There's nothing I can do. So I pretend it doesn't matter. I play this pretend game. I lie to myself. I lie along with everyone else because there's nothing we can do. And I feel for Annette. It's absolute sense of powerlessness and helplessness. But of course, every revolution, if you look at the history, every revolution that changed the outcome of a society for better comprised of people like Lena. Knowing that our effort might be futile, but fuck it. I'm gonna go for it anyway. Because it's not the impact I get to decide, but can I sleep? Can I go to sleep each night knowing that I did something that mattered to me based on my belief system? That's Lena. Lena is an archetypical and such a beautiful portrayal of people who galvanized and started revolutions. Sure, many of them died and many of them became meaningless sacrifices, but it's never meaningless. It is meaningful because they've all paved the way meaningfully. People remember their sacrifices. Go, Lena.
とにかくハンドラーなんかやめて研究部に。
Yeah, and that cares too. She really cares.
やめないわ。ハンドラー。
It's tough.
親友の言うことはちゃんと聞くものよ。
You see? Look at Annette's face. Her heart breaks for Lena because they're best friends. Annette cares. But she knows she has to cater her care towards Lena, who she could influence and she can do something about it, like baking or cooking banana pudding, cakes from last time. Whereas Lena, her empathy is more lateral. Lena's like, no, I'm going to be empathetic towards you because we're best friends and to the Spearhead Squadron because we are all humans. No one is wrong in this scenario. I think that is the difficult part for me emotionally. No one is wrong. Well, except the Republic and the shitbags, right? But in terms of Annette and Lena and Spearhead, no one is wrong. They're all trying their best within the limitations of the system. She also called her by her first name to show that she understands. Name is who we are. Is that Lena's father? I bet that's Lena's father. Wait. Hold on, I just got goosebumps. I could be entirely wrong, but obviously that voice came out of nowhere. And we know the only other person so far that's been revealed who shares Lena's philosophy and humanization effort is Lena's father. Because Uncle Jerome said, you're just like my brother. Is Lena's father the Fox Commander? Because everyone's like, you're lucky to meet him. Dehumanizing 86. I think Lena's father is saying that we have to end the war quickly because it's not just a war, but the invisible, unrecognized sacrifices of the 86. Dude, he just looks like a really, really caring person. And his voice, if he were alive, he should start a podcast. He has the perfect broadcast, radio, podcast voice. I'll listen to him all day. Hayaka. Colonel. Yeah, very high up ranking. That was a flashback because, again, what does flashback represent? PTSD response, right? Flashback is a involuntary recall of a memory about a traumatic incident. Why did Lena just have that random flashback? Because she's feeling especially emotionally and psychologically vulnerable. In other words, her emotions are more raw because there's a new open emotional wound and scar of losing Kaya. So because of her raw, vulnerable emotional states, that flashback happens. And of course, Uncle Jerome shows up and checks in on her. Impeccable timing. Uncle Jerome! Oh.
今も忘れられません。お父様が最後に連れて行ってくれた86の戦場。お父様のことは悲しいですが、でも見られたことは良かったと思っています。
Did her father, again, I'm guessing maybe the Fox Commander, did he die? And because we saw that in flashback, very quick quick scene of like a helicopter crashing and some fire, and boom, she came back to the present. Did her dad die because he wanted to get close to the front line, to the battlefields? Did he die with the cause of trying to humanizing and trying to fight alongside the 86? Because it sounds like the Fox Commander also died, right? That's why he's no longer the commander.
はい、実際に86を見たことで、私はこの国の現実を知ることができた。共和国が捨ててしまった理想を抱くことができた。だから。
That's Lena's depiction of post-traumatic growth. Despite the trauma of losing my father, I feel grateful and glad because it shattered my illusion of what actually Republic represents. Man, this episode is really hitting me hard. The Republic represents nothing but a lie. He did not want to make the Republic a better place. I think Lena's father wanted to make all the citizens better and therefore the Republic in a better place. But I bet in Lena's father's mind, the Republic also included and represented the well-being and the rights of 86. All of the citizens, not just the current silver hair citizens that represents like the Aryan race from World War II Nazi Germany. I'm sure he was, and a good leader.
そういう正義感を持った人間が敵の攻撃で命を落としたことは友人の一人として非常に残念に思っている。
It is a shame.
だがあいつは自覚していなかったのだ。
What?
何をですか？
自分が他の共和国人と同じ高みの見物をしていたに過ぎ
Damn.
ないことをだ。
Oh,
どれほど平等を語っても所詮は一言。
fuck.
戦場で死ぬのは86だけだと。
Wow.
はあまりに無知で
Oh.
愚かだった。
Yo. Uncle Jerome speaks truth. I didn't even think about that, dude. Holy crap. Uncle Jerome is right. That's why he's a general. It is true. The subconscious reveal of Lena's dad taking Lena to the to the highest and most dangerous zone of the battlefield is a reveal and depiction of his subconscious belief that only 86 dies in the front line. We as Alba officers, we as the Republic officers, we will not die. The danger will not come upon us. We are isolated and protected from any risk of danger. That's why a father brought his daughter to the danger of the front line. You're right. It is idealistic and it is reckless. Holy crap. Wow.
レイナ、私は君には彼のようになってほしくない。
So this shows that Uncle Jerome, one, yes, as the general, which is obviously much higher than the colonel, and two, this is the depiction of his experiential wisdom. Uncle Jerome 100% also has cognitive dissonance because he is like, he was just like the rest of us, did nothing but to watch despite all the talk. But the difference is Uncle Jerome is more realistic. He's more pragmatic. He knows the only way, the most effective way, the fastest way to stop the senseless casualties and fatalities, the death of the 86, is by winning and defeating the Legion. Because once the Legion is defeated, the 86 will no longer have to sacrifice their selves and their humanity. Again, different philosophies, but I do sense more idealism from Lena's father, just like Lena's previous moral idealism, which was naive. Came from a good place, but naive moral idealism nonetheless.
いい。君はよくやっている。厄介な部隊を任せた私の責任でもあるな。君にはこの国の現状を身をもって感じてほしかったところもある。
It was by his design, I see.
無理はしなくていい。
いえ、
So Uncle Jerome wanted Lena's naive moral idealism to be shattered, busted, bursted through by the brutal reality that, yes, you mean well, Lena, but your empathy is without proximity, which is what she experienced. Equality?
博愛と正義と高潔です。何を？
Also, it's so interesting. The flag of the Republic represents the same meaning of the flag behind United States of America, right? Of course, there's a lot of inequalities. Social political landscapes on absolutely dumpster fire in the United States for that you guys that read the news and who live in the United States. But nonetheless, the American flag represents freedom, equality, all that, which is what the flag of the Republic represents. Yet, the actual setting and the context of the Republic represents more of that German Nazi Germany. The freaking irony, huh? The writer, man.
それを貫けているのか。現実を。君は少し理想を求めすぎる。他人にも自分にも。理想というのは手が届かないほど高いから理想というのだよ。
Which is what I said.
届かないと知りながらな。
I see what he's saying. It's a hard balance. Today's update, more lies, more propaganda. Look at the irony of the propaganda playing in the backgrounds. Again, today's a beautiful day. Another update. No casualties as always. Unmanned drones. We're doing amazing. We're gonna beat the legions. Da 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 yada yada yada. We're so good. Pat in the back. While Lena is experiencing and reliving through the criticism, the emotional lash out, the voice of Theo. Such a dichotomy, such a stark contrast. Oof. It's getting louder and louder. So this could also be, again, Lena internalizing Theo's voice, or it could also be a portrayal of trauma-induced hallucination. Definition right here. Trauma-induced hallucination. For some folks, when the trauma and the emotional shock, the ontological shock is so severe and so shocking, it literally creates a shockwave to our nervous system. And it breaks our equilibrium. And because of the impact of that emotional shock, some folks could experience trauma-induced hallucinations. In this case, auditory hallucinations. So Lena could be hearing voices as part of the trauma-induced hallucination, and maybe internalization of what Theo had to say. Could be many folds there. That's why it's getting loud, really loud, and overwhelming. You see that? Lena cannot control the input, auditory input, and the voices swarming in, overpowering her. A depiction of her emotional shock and trauma. Because remember, vicarious trauma is trauma through second exposure. What is and what was Lena's vicarious trauma? Witnessing the death of Kea right in front of her eyes. Sure, without the screen, just an arrow and a dot disappearing on screen, sure. But she heard Kaya saying, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." Yep. Spearhead. Oh, Undertaker. See? So I respect Lena because many people like Annette, they will run away from their dissonance because it's too much to bear. There's nothing we can do. So F it. I'm going to pretend and just run away. Whereas Lena, again, like many of the spearheads, pioneers of meaningful revolutions that progress society for the better, although it takes years, instead of running away from her dissonance, she doubles down and she channels her frustration into action by reconnecting to Para-Raid. And that's going to prove they are wrong. And two, it's going to earn her much more respect from the squadron. Because every single one of them understands the courage, absolute courage it takes for Lena to reconnect after being berated by Theo. You see, anytime they're having emotional conversation, because they're connecting emotionally through grief, trauma, all that, it's always under the moonlight. Because like I said, no matter you're the oppressed or the oppressive, all of us share the same constellation, same sky, same moonlight. So I think anytime moonlight shows up, it symbolizes this is an emotional scene. It carries emotional magnitude and carries significant weight emotionally.
ごめんなさい。昨日のことも、これまでのことも、本当にすみませんでした。私はレーナ、ブラディレーナ・ミリーゼと言います。こんな今更ですけれど。
Lena revealed her full name, and now she's gonna ask the names of every spearhead squadrons. Because remember, once you learn someone's name, you accept their humanity. Our names are who we are. Deep. This is about identity restoration. Restoring the lost, ignored, silenced identities of 86 of the spearhead squadrons by officially learning their names. She is restoring their identity and reclaiming their humanity. Super powerful. Let's go. Oh.
ラフィング・フォックスの言ったことを気にされているのでしたら、それは不要です。別にあれが我々の相違というわけではありません。この現状をあなたが作り出したのでもなければ、あなた一人の力で撤回できるものでもないということは分かっています。
Oh, Shin's such a good person and a good leader. He is comforting and soothing Lena, despite his own struggle and grief. Man. Yet that's another burden and another invisible suffering of Shin. He's not only consoling and comforting his own comrades, taking care of the fallen, carrying the memories of the fallen comrades. He's also soothing and comforting Lena, a handler, an albino, an alba, I almost said albino, an alba officer. Dude, Shin might be one of the biggest victims of this limiting circumstances. But of course, he's nothing but a victim. He does not play into victim card. He's a victor. He will do whatever it takes.
不可能なことをしなかったと責められたからといって気に病む必要はありません。
でも名前を知ろうとしなかったのは私の比例です。
それも必要がないからでしょう。なぜレギオンには傍受できないパラレード下でコールサインの使用が義務付けられ、プロセッサーの人事ファイルも開示されないのだと思いますか？
I freaking called it! So I guess they're required to use call signals, aka code names, over Pararaid is because it's a military protocol instated by the Republic as a part of the humanization effort. No names, no identities, only use call signals. Holy crap!
ハンドラーがプロセッサーを人間と考えずに済むように
Yupper. Exactly right.
大概のプロセッサーは1年も経たないうちに死ぬ。
Oh my gosh.
その大量の死をハンドラー一人が負うのは負担が過ぎると、そう考えたのでしょう。
それは卑怯です。
Moonlight. But you didn't.
でもやっぱり卑怯なままでいたくない。ですから名前を、あなたたちの本当の名前を教えていただけませんか？
Let's go, Lena! Oh, let's go. Respect. Much respect.
昨日戦死したキルシュブリーテは海江タニアです。
Oh,
副長のベ
Kaya.
アボルフがライデンシュガ、ラフィングフォッ
Oh.
クス、セオトリ、エマ、
Whoa, slow down, Shin. Jeez, give Lena some time to write these down. My man, come on, man, slow your horses.
クミラ、ブラックドッグ、
Oh, okay. So Kaya wasn't Gunslinger, so I got them mistaken since there was no names or faces. Oh. Oh, beautiful cursives. Lena! This is all about Lena's sincerity and her heart. Her heart is absolutely in the right place. You see Moonlight, sombering emotional connection, quiet emotional weight. That's what the Moonlight represents.
以上になります。
Oh, so many of them.
私のことは
Oh.
では、以後ミリーゼ少佐とお呼びいたします。
Oh, this is so heartwarming. Shin is reciprocating and acknowledging Lena's efforts by being agreeable and calling Major Lena by her name. Because it's reciprocal, right? It's bi-directional. So heartwarming.
でしょうか。
Oh,
はい。
oh,
何をしているのですか？
other people are
海江
chiming
の名
in.
前を
Oh,
残
hmm?
最初の舞台で他の奴らと約束したんです。死んだ奴の名前をそいつの機体に
Oh, I see.
行き着く場所まで全員を連れて行こうと。
That's what analyzed in episode 1 when Kujo, I think that was his name, when he passed away, after Shin had to shoot him to ease his suffering. He said, do not forget. This is what he meant. Do not forget our promises. Please continue to carry our memories, carry us with you through memories, and returning our name text to maybe the remaining members, families, and the origins of their places before they got banished out.
その時は俺が最後で、今までずっとそうでした。
Hmm.
だからこの体でもそれは俺。
ですか？
561名です。
Oh my gosh.
海江を含めて
その全員のこ
覚えています。 俺が行き着くところまで。
Wow. Shin carries the emotional weight and the memories of 561 fallen comrades. He remembers every single one of them. The amount of emotional burden that he carries silently, unfreaking believable. And I think that's, it just hit me. Is that what his name represents? Undertaker? Undertaker. Taker of people who've gone under. A taker of death. He's not just a reaper that claims the lives of his enemies, but he's also the undertaker of people who memorizes and carries the memories of his fallen soldiers. He truly is a trauma anchor for all of them. Is that what undertaker means? What the heck, dude? How many layers of symbolism is there in this show? It's overwhelming. Oh my goodness. Whoa, that's literally what I just said. Whoa. Yo! Straight to it. Aww. Oh, the music. It's becoming more lively. Oh, she's probably apologizing to every one of them by calling them their names. Oh, this is bravo. Muy excelente. This is great. Wow. Wow. What a sick transition. Oh, another similarities between Lena and Shin. They're both man and woman of actions. Springboarding into action straight.
これまでも本当にすみませんでした。私はハンドラブラディレーナ・ミリーセです。
Did you notice that Lena starts off by revealing and disclosing her full name to create that psychological safety, that emotional safety, and that permission also for the Spearhead Quadrant to share their names if they feel called to. Beautiful.
それを自覚もしていなかったのは拒絶されて当然の振る舞いでした。それでももしまだ答えてもらえるなら今からでも名前を。い
や、もうシンから聞いてるんでしょ。
What Lena also demonstrated is the absolute mastery of art of apologies. The art of apologies. Many of us know about 5 languages of love, but because it made it to the mainstream, and which is great by the way, learning about 5 languages of love right here, just knowing that can maybe even mitigate and improve many people's relationships. Because the way we express love and the way we receive and perceive love is different for everyone. So I strongly recommend to look up 5 languages of love. It's like act of service, gift giving, quality time, and there's 5 of them. But then there's another concept called 5 languages of apologies, also right here. It's different way of expressing their apologies and different way of people perceiving the sincerity of someone's apologies. Just because you say I'm sorry does not necessarily mean other person receives that and feels that way. So what Lena just did is she apologized and she started off by accepting her responsibility, her accountability. She didn't start by saying that I'm so sorry. It wasn't my fault. It was a military protocol. The system prohibits us from learning about your names. No. Yes, that is a reality and those are facts. But what Lena did beautifully is it was my fault. I did not take the time to learn your names. If you're willing to accept my apologies and still talk to me, I would love to learn everyone's full names, please. That is the art of apologies. You start off with accountability, accepting full responsibility, and then you share your apologies. Beautiful demonstration.
めんどくさいな。
伺っています。ですが皆さん本人から教えていただいて。
And do you see why Theo is the only one that's talking? She's like, oh, so annoying. Didn't he already tell you? Theo's already talking to Lena because he forgave her and he also feels bad. And Theo is the one that berated Lena in the beginning of the episode and last episode. That's why he's the one that's conversing with Lena first. Very, very beautiful writing. Amazing writing.
わけではありません。
Nice. You see? People are smiling. They're waiting to say, yeah, Theo, go for it. Tell her your full name directly from your mouth. Let's go. Everyone's watching.
ことするから後悔してたろ。
Ah,
内容はともかく言い方を。
yes. Yes. They're all good people.
僕のジャガーノートのマークは笑う狐なんだけど、これ人から引き継いだんだ。
それは
最初に配属されたタイの戦隊長だった。バカみたいに陽気で明るくて、元軍人でバカみたいに強くて。あんたと同じアルバだ。
I'm telling you, Fox Commander is Lena's dad. Oh, let me calm down.
86だけ戦わせるなんておかしいって最前線まで戻ってきた物好きでさ。
Yo, Lena's dad. Damn. R.I.P.
他のプロセッサーを守ろうとしてしんがり引き受けて死んだ。 別に隊長と同じことしろとか思ってるわけじゃないよ。ただ壁の中にいる以上、あんたは僕たちと
Focus on the pronouns. I highlighted this in earlier episodes. Theo is talking to Lena about again suspected Lena's father, the Fox Commander, based on my prediction and analysis. Yet, what is the pronoun he's using to describe this deceased Fox Commander? They. They is powerful because it diminishes direct attachments to Fox Commander. Rather than saying he said they. Is to neutralize his emotional attachments. That's a depiction of yet another emotional detachments and yet another coping mechanism and efforts. Because they already have so much to grieve. That's why I think he's skillfully using they as a pronoun.
じゃないし、あんたを仲間とは認めないって。それだけ。
会議が言っていたいい人というのは
Yes.
その人なりに必死で戦った人。その人たちと同じアルバが作り上げた。クソったれなこの世界とね。以上、どうでもいい話終わり。
Okay, I'm done talking. Bro, he yapped so much. Theo, you could be a yapper.
ああ、僕はセオとリ
There
ッ
you
カ。
go.
セオでもリッカでも、可愛いクソブタちゃんでも好きに呼んでよ。
Cute little shit pig. Yo.
昨日までは本当に
それいいよ、もう。めんどくさい
Aww.
な。
戦隊副長
Enough, get over it already. I think he's also talking to himself. Also, I want to quickly highlight the significant scene of everyone, the rest of the Spearhead Quadrant listening in. It's very symbolic. I think the symbolic representation of everyone else listening in is to highlight the importance of humans feeling and being acknowledged. It's the power of being witnessed, because being witnessed by other humans means common humanity. I think that's what everyone else was witnessing and listening in and looking at Theo talking to Lena. They all want to be acknowledged. And this is the first step. Learning about their names, calling each other by their full names or whatever names, and also being witnessed, acknowledged together between the handler, Lena, and the processors, the entire full identities, full names of who they are. Beautiful.
繋いでくるのを俺たちは聖女気取りの偽善者の豚
everyone's
が自分の豚か
they're all reciprocating. They're also apologizing because of assumptions. Oh, so mature. Oh.
対等とも仲間とも思わない。あんたは俺たちを踏みつけた上で上から綺麗事を吹いているわ。
Alright.
それはどうであろうと変わらないし、
Very
そうとしか
straightforward.
見なさない。それでもいいって言うなら、今つぶしにこれまで通り相手をしてやるが、
Aww.
あ
Aww.
んたはハンドラーには向いてない。やめた方がいいぜ。
Literally what Annette said.
暇つぶしにでもなれるのならまたこれからもつながせてもらいます
Oh. Oh. You're a moron too, just like your father, Fox Commander. Aww. 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 The last resistance, Karana. Aww. Aww. Arigato, everyone. Moonlight, again, sombering nature, emotional connection. Lena, you're sharp. I didn't even realize Shin didn't reveal his full name. Right. Shin Nozen. Is that his dad? Oh shit, who is that? Oh no. Oh. Oh shit. Oh, goosebumps. Last thing I'll say, because this has been a prolonged yapping session with today's episode. First of all, this episode I think has been the most psychologically packed episode to date. Absolutely bonkers. Second, in his flashback, in Shin's flashback about that red-haired guy with faces and eyes blurred out, who will turn out to be his brother, why is his face blurred out? That's a direct depiction of Shin's emotional suppression and his inability to grieve for the suspected death of his brother. That's why even in his flashback and memory recall, the face is blurred out. Why? He's already carrying the grief and memories of 561 fallen comrades. He doesn't have the luxury or the capacity to properly grieve for the suspected death of his brother. All right, y'all, that's enough yapping today. I absolutely love this episode. I love this show. Man, say less. As always, if you enjoy my yapping, and I hope my video makes your day a little bit better despite the heavy emotional content. And again, shout out to all the yappers for picking this show, 86, as the second Yapper exclusive series. Absolutely a master of a show. As always, remember, you matter. You're worthy. And our names are the first primary identity markers for all of us. Cheers to common humanity, y'all. Until next time. Peace.